The candlelight flickered against the cold stone walls of her chamber, casting shadows that seemed to whisper secrets only she could hear. Callie, Queen Key of the Eastern Realms, stood before the full-length mirror, her reflection a pale echo of the woman she had been 7 years ago. The ivory silk nightgown slid against her skin like a memory, soft, insistent, haunting. "Tonight," her maid whispered, adjusting the fabric. "Tonight will be different." Callie let the words brush past her like the ghosts they were. 7 years. 7 long years of walking the same corridor, past the empty nursery, past the portraits of ancestors whose eyes seemed to judge her, only to be met with silence, distance, an untouchable husband who never truly saw her. She remembered the first night she had felt that dangerous pull, the one they whispered about in the court, the one that no queen should dare hope for. Her hand had met his during the ceremony once, fleeting, electric, and then been abandoned. "Our marriage serves its purpose," the Iron Monarch had said, his voice cold, absolute. The alliance was secured. That was enough. But the emptiness in her womb mirrored the emptiness in her bedchambers, the hollow ache of a heart long denied. Callie's sister, Mira, barged in with fire in her eyes, a vial of amber liquid in hand, and hope wrapped in southern coven magic. "Let me help you," Mira urged, and Callie's lips pressed into a thin line. The problem was never her. The problem had always been him. She tucked the vial away, squaring her shoulders, letting dignity cloak her like armor. Every step down the moonlit corridor, past the nursery still cruelly empty, past the echoing portraits, she felt the familiar stir of wolf and human intertwined. Tonight, she told herself, nothing would change. Yet somewhere beneath the armor, hope stirred, dangerous, impossible. The king's chambers loomed ahead, dark, the dying embers of the fireplace casting long shadows that seemed to reach for her. Her heart thudded with a mixture of longing and dread. What if tonight was finally different? What if he looked at her? What if he wanted her? Callie entered quietly, her bare feet whispering against thick carpets, every instinct alert. The Iron Monarch lay on the four-poster bed, deep in drugged sleep, a sleeping draft clutched in his hand. The realization struck her like cold steel. He would rather numb himself than face her. Rage, hurt, and disbelief coiled tight in her chest. "I'm your wife," she whispered to the empty room, shaking his shoulder with trembling hands. Nothing, not even the flutter of an eyelid. She sank to the edge of the bed, letting herself mourn not for love she never received, but for the children she might never hold. 7 years of protocol, 7 years of measured steps, 7 years of silence, all leading to this hollow ritual of presence, without connection. Yet in that quiet, stolen moment, his unconscious hand found hers, fingers curling around hers as if by instinct. Her heart lurched violently, a shockwave of longing and frustration. A king's touch, even half-blind, even unwilling, felt like a miracle she had been denied for 7 long years. She pulled back, curling away, whispering prayers to the gods she didn't entirely believe in. The wolf inside her whined softly, a quiet echo of desire and frustration, and the question settled like ice in her veins. How much longer could she endure this delicate torment before something within her shattered completely? The next night, the ballroom glittered with candlelight and jewels, laughter echoing like distant thunder. Callie sat at the high table, spine straight, mask of composure fixed firmly, watching him dance with another. Princess Lorelei, radiant and unwittingly cruel, twirled in the Iron Monarch's arms, a living reminder of the marriage that existed only in name. Court whispers pricked at her skin, venom hidden behind sugar-coated words. Fertile, desirable, maybe even chosen, but never her. She reached for her wine glass, hands trembling, mind reeling with old fears. Why could he see every other woman this way, but never her? A warm presence interrupted her spiraling thoughts. Ambassador Kieran, fair-haired, kind-eyed, offered a lifeline of civility and conversation. A dance, he suggested, gentle but deliberate, a respite from the unrelenting scrutiny. Callie allowed herself the moment, letting his hand guide her across the floor, noting the stark contrast between his warmth and the Iron Monarch's cold distance. But the air changed almost imperceptibly. A prickle at her neck, the unmistakable weight of eyes on her Jareth. Across the crowded hall, the Iron Monarch's gaze cut through the glittering chaos, silver eyes cold, intense, and burning. Callie froze mid-turn, heart hammering as the unspoken acknowledgement passed between them. 7 years of distance and rejection crystallized into a single, unbearable moment of raw awareness. He had noticed her. Not as queen, not as an ally, not as a duty, but as her. Possessive, hungry, and impossibly alive. The ballroom fell away, whispers drowned, the music faltered, and the only rhythm left was the pulse of her own heart echoing in tandem with his scrutiny. Questions tumbled, chaotic and insistent. What did this mean? Was he finally awake to her existence, to her worth? And if he was, would it be mercy or something far more dangerous? Ambassador Kieran, oblivious to the silent storm brewing, whispered his apologies, the words almost comical in contrast to the threat radiating from the Iron Monarch. Callie's mind raced, caught between relief, anger, and fear as Jareth approached, every movement measured, controlled, and yet radiating lethal intent. The hand gripping the ambassador's shoulder tightened, gold eyes flashing, and for the first time in 7 years, the Iron Monarch spoke her name in public. Kay. The syllable struck her like lightning, a sound she had craved and feared in equal measure. All pretense of diplomacy fell away. All the courtly whispers, the veiled cruelty, the delicate masks, they meant nothing now. Only him, only that word, only the question burning in her chest. What did he want from her now, and could she survive the answer? In the hush that followed, the ballroom seemed to hold its breath. Callie remained perfectly still, heart racing, cheeks flushed, body coiled with anticipation and dread. For 7 years she had navigated distance, rejection, and loneliness. For 7 years she had been unseen, untouched, unheard. And now, in a heartbeat, all of that poised to shift. The Iron Monarch had arrived, unyielding and magnetic, and for the first time, the question she had buried for so long pressed forward. Could this night, could this moment, finally be the one where everything changed? Chapter 2. Key's chambers felt unbearably small, the walls pressing in with every agitated step she took. The soft swish of her evening gown punctuated the silence as she paced from the window to the door and back again. Her heart hammered. The memory of Jareth's gaze from the ballroom burned her eyes. 7 years of distance, 7 years of cold, and now that look. Her sister Mira burst in without knocking, eyes wide with uncontainable excitement. "Oh my God, Kay. Did you see him?" Callie's stomach sank. "He was practically feral," Mira continued, closing the door behind her. "I've never seen anything like it." Callie drew in a breath, hands pressed against her chest. "Why are you so excited?" she asked, wary. Mira's grin was feral, magnificently jealous. "That means, oh, Kay, you're pregnant. You have to be." Callie froze. "Sorry, what?" she demanded. The words tumbled out, fast and dangerous. "I'm not pregnant." Mira shook her head, disbelief written on every feature. "But you have to be." That's why he reacted like that. Alpha's possessive, protective, aggressive when their maid is carrying their child. Look at how he nearly destroyed that ambassador. Callie pressed her palm to her forehead, heart racing. This could cause a diplomatic crisis. Mira's confidence was unshaken. "Not once they know you're not. He won't harm you. It's natural for an alpha. Trust me." Callie's voice fell flat. "I'm not pregnant. Jareth and I, we never." Her words hung like a blade in the room. Mira blinked, confused. "What do you mean?" Callie whispered. "Nothing happened that night." Silence stretched before Mira's face softened with realization. "So, you've never?" Callie shook her head. 7 years of marriage, never consummated. Mira's jaw opened and closed. The impossibility weighed heavy. Callie sank onto her bed, exhaustion washing over her. Do you understand how dangerous this is? For you, for the family? The marriage could be invalidated. Mira's voice trembled with urgency. Even if he doesn't like you, an heir isn't just desire, it's duty. Jareth is nothing if not dutiful. He needs an heir as much as you do. The echo of duty pressed down, suffocating yet unavoidable. And then an abrupt knock. Jareth filled the doorway, his jacket gone, shirt partially unlaced, chest heaving, eyes ablaze. "Out," he growled. Mira's eyes widened. Callie's hand rested lightly on her sister's shoulder. "It's fine. Go." Jareth's gaze pinned her in place, burning like molten silver and gold. She lifted her chin, steadying herself. "What happened earlier?" she asked, voice trembling. "I hope you came to explain yourself." He didn't answer. His nostrils flared, scenting her. "What's wrong? You're not acting like yourself." His laugh was harsh, predator-like. "Like myself?" she echoed. The tension radiated between them, thick enough to choke. "You assaulted a foreign ambassador," she exclaimed. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" His presence pressed in, wild, impossible to ignore. "What have I done?" he snapped. "I propositioned you." Callie breathed, defiance blooming despite her racing heart. His jaw tightened. "Handle it. Ladies proposition you all the time." She tried to dismiss it, but his gold eyes narrowed. "I've never been unfaithful," he growled, wounded and raw. Callie froze. "Not once." Her chest was constricted. "I know," she whispered. "I know you haven't." That truth, undeniable and pure, drained the fight from her, leaving only raw need, unspoken longing, and a fragile, aching hope. "Then why?" he demanded. Her throat tightened. "I don't care about him. I only want a child. A baby. That's all I've ever wanted." Her words trembled, spilling like a confession. Silence. His whisper sliced through it. "I warned you. Before marriage, I said I would never claim you. You agreed." Callie's chest heaved. "I thought maybe you'd change your mind," she admitted. His hands shook, fury and desperation warring across his features. "I'm trying to protect you," he cried. "You don't understand. If I touch you one day soon, I promise you'll have your child." The weight of his promise struck her like sunlight. "What?" Her fingers clutched his arm. "Soon," he repeated, voice rough but certain. Hope bloomed, fierce and dangerous, in her chest. She cupped his cheek, hesitating only a moment before brushing her lips against his. He froze, every muscle taut, then kissed her back with an intensity that had been building for 7 long years. Her gasp merged with his growl, their shared hunger breaking free. The world contracted to the heat of him. Teeth scraped, tongues danced, hands mapped every inch, tracing lengthened roads of longing and possession. Skin against skin, the floor against their bodies, and every denied desire flared like wildfire. "Yes," she breathed. "I want this." His fingers tore at the fastenings of her dress, fabric surrendering. The bed waited, but the pull of proximity was irresistible. Every touch, every sigh, every shared breath carved a homecoming into the years of absence. His wolf surged beneath the surface, teeth grazing her pulse, every bite a statement of claim and need. "Please," she gasped, giving herself over to the storm of him. Every tight, clenched part of her unraveled, replaced by the feral satisfaction of being wanted. He moaned into her skin, hands everywhere, dragging her closer, every inch answered instinctively. "I'm here," she whispered, fingers threading into his hair. "Right here." The unrelenting hunger between them became a symphony, heat and desire stitching 7 years of absence into this one excruciating, perfect moment. She guided him to the vial of medicine, each step a careful negotiation between instinct and duty. "Water first," she said, practical yet trembling. His hands shook. She steadied them, heart hammering as she watched him drink. A beat slipped along his jawline, and the ache of restraint, longing, and need collided in her chest. His eyes met hers, pupils wide, gold-rimmed with black. A groan, soft and ruinous, escaped his lips as he brushed his mouth across her palm, scenting, claiming, acknowledging her presence in a way words never could. Gravity claimed them as they stumbled, her knees grounding him, their bodies finally aligned. His mouth found hers again, this time with no restraint, and the hunger, the desire, the 7 years starvation poured out, unrelenting. She pressed into him, teeth grazing, skin blazing, the bond between them sealing with every gasp and whisper. "You're not going to lose me," she breathed. "I'll always be yours." The echo of their years apart was gone, replaced by the steady radiance of claim, desire, and unbreakable promise. They sank into the aftermath, bodies trembling, breaths ragged, hearts beating in tandem. 7 years of hunger, longing, and denial had erupted and now smoldered, hot and undeniable. Callie traced the lines of his shoulders, memorizing, claiming, grounding herself in the reality of his presence. He exhaled, a low vibration of relief and need, his wolf subdued but present, tethered to hers. The storm had broken. The quiet aftermath settled, a fragile piece stitched with fire, a promise of what was to come, a future forged in desire, love, and the long-awaited return of their bond. Chapter 3. Callie woke to warmth beneath her cheek, Jareth's steady heartbeat, grounding her, tethering her to a reality that finally felt right. For one perfect moment, she let herself exist in the embrace, the solidness of him, the contentment radiating through their bond. Then his breathing shifted, subtle at first, and she felt the stirrings of awareness return. Confusion rippled through him, raw and electric. She lifted her head to find him staring at the ceiling, stunned. "Jareth." Her voice trembled. His gaze dropped, taking in the tangled evidence of their night, marks on her skin. He swallowed hard. "We're bonded." Shock reverberated through them both, terrifyingly like regret. "I'm happy," she whispered, voice steady. "Finally, I'm your mate." His flinch was instant. Guilt flooded through their bond, waves of apology. "I'm sorry," he murmured, pulling away to sit upright. "You're sorry?" she breathed. His words trembled. "I wasn't in my right mind," he explained. "Stop," Kay whispered, shaking her head. "You were perfect. I wanted this." A crack split his expression. "Do you regret it?" she asked. His eyes, raw and honest, met hers. "No," Jareth swore. "I could never regret you." His hands reached hers, sincerity spilling across their connection. But before more could be said, he kissed her again soft, desperate, then pulled away. "I have council meetings," he said, rising from the bed. "Things I've neglected." Kay's disbelief cut her like a blade. "You're leaving?" She barely breathed. "I have duties," he said, eyes avoiding hers. "You should rest." The door closed with painful finality, leaving her hollow. Mira burst in, excitement radiating. "Kay, is it true? You're bonded?" Callie nodded, faintly smiling. "Yes. The marriage is secure. No one can contest it." Kay's voice dropped flat. "He regrets it. The bond. He regrets everything from that night." Mira paused, something shifting in her expression. "He's confused, maybe. But this is for the best," she said quietly. "What did you do?" Kay demanded. The weight in her stomach deepened as Mira confessed. The potion, it wasn't a suppressant. It amplified what he already felt, to ensure he couldn't resist what he already desired. Callie's breath caught. "You drugged him?" Her sister hurried to explain. "He wanted you. I just helped make it happen." Horror pooled in her chest. "We secured the kingdom," Mira said, steady. "You're safe." Kay shoved her away, trembling. "Do you understand? This is treason. You manipulated him. Drugged my husband." Silence hung, heavy, before she turned, pale, and ran. She found Mira in the workroom, grinding herbs methodically. "Jareth, he knows," she whispered. "We need to leave. Now." "You can't," Mira said. "He's your husband." Kay's voice faltered. "He doesn't want this baby. He'll be relieved if we disappear. He might spare us." With that, they fled, navigating secret passages with the expertise of someone who had memorized every shadow of the castle. Stables emptied, horses saddled. Callie led the way, heart hammering. The castle shrank behind them. She pressed her hand to her stomach, thinking only of the child she had carried for 7 long years. Now all that mattered. The forest swallowed them, winding paths confusing scent trails, safety woven in shadows. The cottage that awaited them was small, remote, but suffocating in its isolation. Kay barely recognized the hollow woman in the mirror, cheeks sunken, eyes darkened. Her wolf clawed at her constantly, desperate, needing Jareth with a madness that bordered on agony. "You need to eat," Mira urged, setting down a bowl of soup. "I'm fine," Kay protested. "You're not," Mira said softly. "Bonding sickness is real. Newly mated wolves separated like this, it's dangerous. Potentially fatal." Kay pressed a hand to her flat stomach. "I'm protecting my baby. That's all that matters." Before another word, a howl split the air. Male, alpha, achingly familiar. Her wolf surged, breaking through control, claws scraping, chest heaving. "Him," she gasped. "He's found us." Panic and desperation collided as she swayed, trying to flee, but Mira caught her. "Kay, please. You can't run." Seconds passed like hours. Then the door burst open. Jareth filled the threshold, worse than she'd ever seen. Gaunt, dark circles under his eyes, wild hair, rumpled clothes, every inch of him a storm. Their eyes locked, and the bond flared, shattering walls, drowning her senses. Relief, joy, fear, love, every emotion rolled over her in waves. "Callie," he murmured, and then he was there, catching her as her legs gave out. The connection surged, life, heat, need. His sound, half sob, half growl, reverberated through her. "I thought you'd been taken. I couldn't feel you, couldn't find you." He pulled back, eyes wide through the bond. Kay choked out, "I'm pregnant." "I'm so sorry, Jareth. I know you didn't want this." He framed her face in his hands, dropping to his knees, pressing his mouth to her stomach. "You're carrying our child," he breathed. "Everything I've wanted, never thought I could have." Emotion coursed through the bond. Fear, yes, but overwhelming joy, fierce love. "I thought you regretted it," she whispered. "The bond you avoided me for weeks." He stood, hands cradling her face. "You'll be a mother. I'll be a father. That's all that matters." Kay's hands fisted in his shirt. Through the bond, waves of emotion, relief, joy, love washed over her. But beneath it, grief lingered. Deep, profound. Like he was already mourning something he hadn't yet lost. She pressed herself to him, feeling his breath, steadying, holding, grounding them both in the truth. They were together, safe, and a life had begun between them. Chapter 4. The choice and the legacy. The months that followed were the happiest of Kelly's life. Gone was the distant king she'd known for 7 years, replaced by someone who could not bear to be apart from her. Every morning, every quiet moment, he pressed kisses to her shoulder, her temple, her growing belly. "You're going to spoil me," she teased one morning as he helped her from bed, her 6-month pregnancy rounding her form. "Good," he replied, pressing another kiss to her stomach. "That's exactly what I intend to do." Gifts appeared daily: soft blankets for the nursery, books for the baby, jeweled combs for her hair. When she protested, he simply pulled her into his arms, kissing her until her complaints melted. "Let me," he murmured. "Let me give you everything." Through the bond, she could feel his joy, but sometimes, in quiet moments, something flickered beneath, unspoken. "What's wrong?" she asked one afternoon. "Just thinking how lucky I am," he said, though the smile didn't reach his eyes. At 8 months, Kay found Jareth in his study, candlelight reflecting off ink-stained fingers. "Working?" She pressed a kiss to his hair. He startled, gathering papers, letters for their child, sealed with wax. "Love letters," he said softly, pulling her onto his lap. "Just thoughts I want them to know." 2 weeks later, the contractions began. Hours blurred together, pain, tears, effort. "I can see the head," Mira announced. One final push, and then a cry.
A boy.
Healthy, perfect, red-faced. Kay breathed. Hello. I'm your mother. Jartha's hands trembled as he reached for their son's tiny fist. He made a choked sound, half sob, half laugh. Do you want to hold him? Kay nodded, transferring their son into his arms. She watched emotions ripple across his face: joy, wonder, love, and beneath it all, grief. He is your eyes, Jarth whispered through tears. He'll have your courage, she replied. He'll have you, he said softly. That's all he'll need. A sudden chill swept through the room, extinguishing every candle. Through the bond, Kay felt Jartha's shock spike. Someone was there. A woman, impossibly beautiful, cold and deliberate, smiled as though she had every right to claim what was theirs. Congratulations are in order, she purred. Kay's body went rigid.
Who are you?
How dare you appear here? I announced myself long ago, the woman said. Almost 8 years ago. And now, I am here to collect what's owed to me. Our agreement. 10 years without claiming your mate. Fail, and any child conceived in your marriage belongs to me. Kay's chest froze. Jartha's gaze was steady. You could have waited until tomorrow, he said coldly. A bargain is a bargain, she laughed, venomous and sharp. Until you failed. Her eyes flicked to their son. The child is mine. No. Kay breathed, clutching him tighter. Henry stays with me. You can take me instead, Jarth said quietly. Silence hung. Then he knelt beside her, voice rough with certainty. This is the only way to save you both. Listen to me. You're going to be fine. Raise Henry. Rule the kingdom. Live. Kay shook her head. Not without you.
Yes.
Without me, he said firmly, brushing her tears away. You don't need me, Kay. You never did. But I love you, and I will always choose you. The woman studied him. And you would serve me for eternity, willingly?
Yes.
In exchange, they live free, unharmed, untouched. Kay's voice cracked. Jarth, no. This is the only way, he whispered. Forehead pressed to hers, the bond flooding her senses with his absolute love. I love you. Every day of these 8 years, I have loved you. And I always will. Kisses, fierce and tender, sealed promises not just between them, but for the life they had created. A final, soft touch to Henry's forehead. Take care of your mother, he whispered, before closing the bond with the woman. Triumph shone on her face, but she had no power here. Jarth had chosen sacrifice. And then they were gone. Mist, sunlight, the echo of love. Epilogue. 3 years later, Kay watched the sunset with Henry, the nursery alive with laughter. Blocks stacked, towers built, her son's wonder infectious. Big tower, he cheered, dark eyes shining. Just like Papa's castle, she agreed softly. Henry climbed into her lap. Tell the story. About Papa. Once upon a time, there was a king who loved his queen and his son more than anything in the world. Love is stronger than magic, stronger than curses, stronger than time itself. Papa will come back one day, she promised. When the time is right. Henry's hand patted her cheek. Promise. I promise, she whispered.
And she meant it.
The bond may have been severed, but the love remained. The kingdom thrived. Henry grew, fearless and bright. And one day, when the stars aligned, she would find him again. Until then, she would live fully, rule justly, and raise their son. If you enjoyed Kelly and Jartha's story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more epic romance adventures every week. And if you want even deeper stories, check the description for bonus chapters and exclusive content you won't find anywhere else.